Two Homeland Security officials tell CBS News that the Trump administration has been quietly deporting Mexican migrants to different countries in Central America. This despite the Mexican government's willingness to accept returning citizens. CBS News immigration correspondent Camilo Montoya-Galvez is following this story for us. Camilo, what have you learned?
Hi, Liz. As you underscored, we have learned through sources at the Department of Homeland Security that the Trump administration for the past few months has been deporting hundreds of Mexican deportees around Mexican territory to send them to Honduras and Guatemala instead in Central America. And the objective, we are told by U.S. officials, Liz, is to deter illegal immigration from Mexico by sending deportees from that country further south away from the American border. And this is happening, as you rightly underscored, despite the fact that Mexico's government is saying publicly, including to us, that it is willing to accept all Mexican deportees from the U.S. In a statement, in fact, the Mexican Foreign Ministry told us that it rejects the deportation of Mexican nationals to third countries like Honduras and Guatemala. For its part, the Department of Homeland Security told us that it is utilizing, Liz, all lawful options, quote unquote, to carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. That is, of course, a signature promise by President Trump. So again, this is a striking operation that has not been publicly announced by the Trump administration, but that sources at DHS indeed confirm is happening, Liz.
And Camilo, a court order is allowing the termination of Ethiopia's temporary protected status program. What does that mean for those that are already enrolled?
Well, let's just think about this. More than 1 million people who previously had legal authorization to live and work in the U.S. rather legally without fear of deportation have now lost that status and are eligible to be arrested and deported by ICE. We're talking about immigrants from Afghanistan, Cameroon, Burma, Ethiopia, Haiti, Honduras, Nepal, Nicaragua, Somalia, South Sudan, Syria, Venezuela, and Yemen. All of these migrants were previously covered under the TPS, or Temporary Protected Status program, but now the Trump administration, after that Supreme Court ruling earlier this summer, has been able to terminate many of those policies, arguing that they were extended for far too long by Democratic administrations, including the administration of former President Joe Biden. Now only 4 countries, Liz, have TPS. We're talking about immigrants from El Salvador, Lebanon, Sudan, and Ukraine, but it is likely that some of these programs, if not all of them, will eventually also be terminated by the Trump administration. And lastly, I should underscore that the Department of Homeland Security is telling the migrants whose TPS has now expired that they should be self-deporting from the country immediately. Otherwise, the department is saying they will be arrested and forcibly detained and deported from the country.
Wow. All right, Camilo Montoya-Galvez, thanks so much.